Uh-oh, y'all caught me in mid sip. Yo, what's good? I'm Marcus, and in today's video, we're gonna go over two videos, real short, real simple. But we're gonna talk about, hey, what's the best type of millionaire to become, and is it really possible? Well, DFD, what do you mean by the best type of millionaire? Any millionaire is good, which generally is true. But for me, I think the best type of wealth to have is the wealth where don't nobody know you got it. So give me the wealth. I don't really want the fame. When you got fame, then people gonna come after your wealth. But we're gonna take a look at two stories. One is an oldie but goodie. I did a video on it some years ago, but I think that this story is one significant to me because, hey, Mr. Earl Crawley is a brother who was able to secure a very large bag by making some smart investments. And the second video that we're going to check out is a video about a secret millionaire who passed away. Nobody knew he had all these ends. And I ain't gonna say funny, and the unique thing that he decided to do with his money once he moved on and to whatever his beliefs is. If you're new to this channel, we're talking finances and attorney reactions. Hey, not legal or financial advice. This is just my opinion, infotainment purposes, and I let y'all know sometimes of the moves that I make personally. So if you're new, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell notification. I know I've been working with some different microphones trying to get the sound just right. And I had like a wireless mic on my last live, and I went back and listened to it, and it sounded like I was on a Blackberry. Like that joint sounded terrible. So I was like, let me break out the old school microphone because it just sounds clearer to me, in my opinion. Now let's go ahead jump into the videos. I thought I already had it queued up, but apparently I'm slacking out here. But yeah, we about to get it queued up right now. Now this story is, I think, from 2016. This is a oldie but goodie, but is a great story because, like I said, hey, Mr. Earl Crawley is a brother. He was in Baltimore. He made it happen. We're gonna listen to this video and talk a little bit about the moves he made to secure the wealth, secure the bag.
Not long ago, I met Earl Crawley.
Hey, how you doing?
But everyone here calls him He believes
Whole thing.
Crawley,
Hey, how you doing?
but everyone here calls him Mr. Earl.
We can talk about some finances.
He's worked as an attendant at this parking lot in Baltimore for 44 years.
So you really think it's going to improve the gas?
Funny thing though, everyone was asking Mr. Earl about money.
Nickel and dime, nickel and dime.
That's right. Is that booth his pulpit where he's preaching the gospel of investing?
Sure is. He makes my day every time I see him.
Oh, come on now. Seriously. Investing?
How you like that gold now?
607.
Earl told me he's never made more than $12 an hour. Never earned more than $20,000 a year.
How you doing?
So how could he know something about corporate profits?
Father's gonna get
I had to pry.
So Earl, what's your net worth?
$500,000.
All right. Mr. Crawley, a beast. He a goat in the game. All right. So let's just put that into context. This dude never made more than $12.50 an hour, never made more than $20,000 a year. Like, this is the epitome of, if you watch this video, it should motivate you. And honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself. I should be ashamed of myself. We should be collectively ashamed of ourselves, because this dude was able to amass a $500,000 net worth, making no more in his lifetime. That in since he was 20. What was it, $12.50 an hour? Like, I don't even know. I know what jobs where I'm at, they aren't paying, like, minimum wage is higher than $12.50 an hour, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, yo, this should be motivating, and it should also just kind of make us reflect on the moves that we're making. Because, a lot of times we get caught up in just trying to ball, trying to do the right thing. But this dude, $12.50 an hour, never made more than $20,000 in his however many years he been working as a parking lot attendant. Net worth $500,000.
How you doing?
So how could he know something about corporate profits?
Father's gonna get
I had to pry.
So Earl, what's your net worth?
$500,000.
$500,000.
Yeah.
From working here.
Working here.
That's amazing.
My last statement.
And there it is in his statements. Over $500,000 net worth on a parking lot wage. Now Mr. Earl had my full attention. How did he do it?
Stop working so hard and let the money work for you.
Earl's first lesson came at age 13. His mother had him working the fruit stalls to help pay the family bills. He got to keep just a few quarters for himself.
From the time my mother started taking my money that I earned on Lexington Market, that it wasn't money just to be thrown away. It was there to be used.
Economics aside, Earl had another obstacle to overcome.
Tebow is
He tells me he's dyslexic. Back in the 50s, that meant settling for a life of low-wage manual labor jobs. So Earl figured he'd better sock away what little money he was making. It was just $1 here and $1 there, starting with savings stamps, and that led to savings bonds. At 26, he got married. And by the late 60s, Earl was feeding 3 children on a meager $80 a week.
It was tough, but because we had to sacrifice a lot.
And the budget only got tighter when Earl and Beverly opted to send their kids to Catholic school instead of public school, which was free. Earl took extra jobs to pay the tuition, and you better believe he made every penny count.
Elementary school, I would ask for lunch money, and he would give me $1. Lunch was 85 cents, and he would reply before I walked out the door, "I want my change."
As the years rolled by, Earl kept saving what seemed like
That's how my
meaningless
family
amounts.
pictures look.
He started
All of us
investing
blind as hell.
$25 each month into a mutual fund and did that consistently for 15 years. By the late 70s, his net worth was $25,000.
Later, as the children got older, he decided to play the stock market. And he bought 1 share, and well, the rest is history.
He bought stock in blue chips like IBM and Coca-Cola that paid dividends, and
instead of taking the dividends and parking it, let it set or let it reinvest itself, and it increased my shares. And the more shares I had, the more dividend I had. Eventually, the more money I have down the road.
so where did the so-called slow learner learn so much about mutual funds and blue chips and dividend reinvestment plans?
You're going to split this year.
It all comes back to that parking lot. And this is my favorite part of Earl's story. You see, his lot is smack dab in the middle of a financial district where he picked the brains of brokers and bankers and lawyers for their financial advice.
What's going on? You got any advice for me today in the markets?
No, I'm just trying to find out something from you. Talk to everybody and listen to advice that everybody give me and take it from there.
Earl, why don't we take a look at what you've got in the portfolio now?
Earl had trouble reading, so instead, he listened. He believed in the power of compound interest and stocks for the long haul, which brings us back to the present. Today, Earl's stock portfolio alone is worth more than $500,000. And yes, his house is paid for. And no, he doesn't carry any credit card debt.
Here we go.
Somebody to emulate not only as an investor, but as an individual, and how to live your life and make the best of what the Lord gave you.
Now, Earl is paying it forward.
Here comes Brenda.
He's gifting shares from his portfolio to people like Brenda Thomas, who never dreamed they could have enough money to invest.
And
Damn.
that was Coca-Cola.
Because you
That's
told
dope.
me to reinvest my dividends, I now have 77 shares.
I'm excited about it. I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for Mr. Earl. And he made it so easy.
If you don't have the money for
And
the
not
whole
only
shit,
is he gifting
this
shares
is
to a
the-
local church, he's starting an investment club there to get everyone investing.
Our goal is every member of the church will own stock. And then they're going to transfer into their family members. So starting here, it's just going to blow up.
it makes me feel good to see someone actually going on and took my advice and went on and did it. That's really a good feeling.
So from his little green shack, Earl is helping others and preaching the gospel of investments. And at the end of my day with Mr. Earl, he told me his good fortune happened not in spite of, but because of his disability.
I always used to say that I must have been the dumbest thing in school or the dumbest thing to couldn't learn, but God gave me the gift to listen and act behind it, and it's one of the best things ever happened to me.
Man, I love that story. Like, yo, that story is the quintessential blueprint on how to maneuver. Because I know right now, everybody looking at this video, everybody who will hear my voice, y'all probably all made or make more than $12.50 an hour. This dude never made more than $12.50 an hour. Yeah, he had another job to put the kids through school, but $500,000 in a portfolio, a paid off house, kids in private school. He had a gang of kids. Like, yo, that's pretty impressive as hell. So that's something that we should strive for. And I know, I don't know, it's interesting because I didn't even know the part until I watched this video because I read the article, but the article actually didn't talk about him giving his shares away, which is even dope because, I like that video because it's a brother helping other brothers who is just helping people. He don't really give a damn if you black, white. He got the advice from a bunch of all the people he got advice from was like old white guys working in the financial district. But he picked their brain. They played it forward, gave him some information. He passed that information on. Got an investment club at the church. That's wild. And I don't know if that's a common thing that churches do now. Because I can remember when I was coming up, church was always confusing when it came to finances. Because, like, I would see a lot of people in line for a financial blessing, but I can remember the church having, we're going to Delaware to see a play, and then we're going to go stop by this mall because Delaware has no taxes. And I'm like, why y'all stopping by the mall? Y'all got too many people in the finance blessing line. Y'all don't need to be going to a mall. I don't give a damn if you don't pay taxes. So it's dope that he is paying it forward. He's helping people not only by giving them something, but he's giving knowledge. He's giving information. This is far removed from the scammers that we normally see in my videos or alleged purported scammers. So I always like that story. That's one from 2016. That's an oldie but goodie. Now, this next video, let me go ahead and get it queued up, is really interesting because this is the story of a secret millionaire. Okay, we're going to play this video. I may pause it occasionally to talk about it because in this video, this guy did a lot of things right, but I think he did a few things wrong that DFD wouldn't have done personally. So let's go ahead, cue it up, and see what's going on. Which view is better? I feel like this view is better right here. All right, let's go ahead and cue this up.
82-year-old caretaker of a mobile home park in New Hampshire passed away earlier this year. The local community was surprised to find out that this man who lived incredibly frugally was actually a millionaire. In fact, he left a lot of that money behind for the local community, making him an American hero. Now, the real question is, will the local community squander this opportunity? We'll get to that in just a moment. His name is, or was, I should say, Jeffrey Holt. He lived in Hinsdale, New Hampshire, where he led a very simple life. Residents would see Holt around town in threadbare clothing, riding his lawnmower, headed to a convenience store, parked along the main road, reading a newspaper or watching cars pass.
All right, now real quick. The amount of money that this dude left behind and gave to the town he lived in was $3.8 million. Now, just from hearing the first part of this story, my initial thought was, okay, this guy was really content with what he had, and he clearly didn't need a lot. He clearly didn't need a lot to feel like he accomplished something or to feel like he was living his life. Because, hey, riding a lawnmower around town, trust me, I was down south and actually did that before to the nearest store from my pop's house, which was far as hell. It ain't no fun task riding a slow ass lawnmower miles to get to the nearest store. So, hey, my initial thought was, hey, this guy was very frugal. He was very conservative with what he did.
And he did some odd jobs, but rarely left town. Despite having taught driver's ed to high schoolers, Holt had given up driving a car. He opted for a bicycle instead, and finally, the mower. His mobile home in the park was mostly empty of furniture, no TV and no computer either. The legs of his bed went through the floor.
All right. The legs of his bed went through the floor. This is deserving of a pause right here. Okay. $3.8 million. Hey, I don't give a damn how frugal you are. I don't care how frugal you are. At some point, you got to live a little. And I think by living is actually having a damn bed that's not falling through the floor. Like, it's no amount of frugality. I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe the shit was comfortable. I don't know. The bed could have been comfortable as hell. But for me personally, it's hard to explain because he could have been happy as hell with his bed falling through the floor, and that would have just been fine. But for me personally, I think it's a disservice to work hard to make yourself financially secure and not reap any of the benefits from it. You know what I mean? Like, I was just having this conversation with somebody today. They were talking about like, oh, I don't want to get a car because, you know, people break into cars over like where my place of employment was at. And I was like, dog, that's insurance. If you got the means, if you're doing it the right way, my view is don't deprive yourself of something that you want if you can do it the right way and obtain it out of fear that something is going to happen to it. So I'm gonna disagree with this gentleman here. Like, yo, bro, I understand you want to be conservative, but you're sitting on 3.8 million. You're sitting on 3.8 million. I don't know if like a bed is probably one of the most important things you can get, considering we spend a substantial part of our life sleeping on the damn thing.
So clearly he wasn't interested in spending any money on himself and really did live a simple life, a little too simple if you ask me. He should have at least been a little more comfortable. He deserved it. Now, his best friend and former employer, Edwin Smith, said this: he seemed to have what he wanted, but he didn't want much. What an incredible guy. Very different from me and a lot of other people in America. But it turns out that secretly Holt was a multimillionaire. And so when he died, he actually gave it all away to his community of 4,200 people. His will had brief instructions, $3.8 million to the town of Hinsdale to benefit the community in the areas of education, health, recreation, and culture.
All right. Point number two: if someone passes away and they're leaving all of their money to their town, I don't even think this is without saying, but you likely don't have any family, or your family just got on your last damn nerve, and you was like, I'm writing all them bastards out of the will. One of the two. This guy must really love and trust the town that he resides in, because I already know right now, if you leave that much money to DFD's town where DFD live, the city where DFD at, hey, I already know, like, man, that's not gonna end up in some council members, some state senators' pocket. They're gonna be fighting over it. It's gonna go to their friends and family through no big contracts. It's gonna be a complete and utter shit show. So, hey, shout out to him for doing this. I think that's an honorable thing to do. I wouldn't have did it even if I don't have family. I would have left him something. Or I would have left him instructions, like very specific instructions, and the money would have been in the trust so I can make sure that the councilmen don't finesse it off. But hey, shout out to him for having faith in the town that he live in, because I already know councilmen will be having wrestling matches over that stuff where I'm at.
Earlier in his life, by the way, he worked as a production manager at a grain mill in Vermont. But apparently he also studied financial publications and learned how to invest his money. One of Holt's first investments into a mutual fund was in communications before cell phones ever even existed. And so Holt had confided to his friend Smith, who became the executor of his estates, that his investments were doing better than he had ever expected, and wasn't sure what to do with the money. He has no children, by the way. And so Smith explains here why he thinks Holt saved all his money and what happened when Holt came to the realization that he was a multimillionaire. Let's watch.
He was brought up to be very frugal. Oftentimes when I was talking to him, he'd make reference to his father telling him that he shouldn't spend money. He should be more frugal with his money and be careful of how he spent it because it wouldn't last. When Jeff realized that he had a couple $1 million in the bank, He didn't know what he was going to do with it. I was sort of dumbfounded when I found out that all of it went to the town.
I mean, most.
All right, let's pause it real quick. Yeah, that money, yeah, DFD ain't leaving the city, nothing. And if I do, it's gonna be in a damn trust. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be very specific. Like, yo, this money is to be used for this purpose and only this purpose, so nobody could finesse it and get their money, grubby ass hands on it. But let's talk a little bit before we finish up this video about the common theme, okay? And honestly, let's just be honest and keep it a buck. Like, watching these videos, I don't know about y'all, but it make me feel like, yo, we can do this shit. Like, anybody who watched this video, you got a parking lot attendant who made $12.50 an hour, and a guy who worked at a grain mill. I'm not sure what his salary was, but I'm sure he wasn't making no balling ass salary working at the grain mill. But the common theme that we hear here, now I think this dude did it the wrong way. Hey, he lived below his means, but he was too damn below his means. But the common theme is they watch their money, they live below their means, and they invested. And nobody said anything fancy. They was like, we invested in mutual funds that invested in computer companies that invested in communications, and we just kept investing in it. Yo, if you leave your money in the market, anything that tracks the S&P 500, and I put videos up, I put images up of, at one point this year, I think I had a 23% return. Right now, I think I'm around 17%. And there's nothing fancy. I don't got no goddamn Tesla stock. No, I got a simple mutual fund that I put the money in that tracks the S&P 500, and I just leave it there. Once I put it there, it's gone, and I take it out, I don't know, when I'm old as hell and my hair don't grow anymore. But that's the common thread. These guys are living below their means. One did a little too below, like, hey, I think Mr. Crawley did it the right way. He had a family, he had a house, he had a Mrs. Crawley, so he could have the yams available. This other guy was a little too ridiculous with the depriving himself of the luxuries of life. But the general blueprint is to live below your means and invest your money.
People would be dumbfounded if they found out. But Steve Diorio, who is the chairperson of the town select board, who'd occasionally wave at Holt from his car, said this: I don't think anyone had any idea that he was that successful. I know he didn't have a whole lot of family, but nonetheless, to leave it to the town where he lived in, it's a tremendous gift. Oh God, it's so devastating that he didn't have much family. Like, family, I love family. Family's everything. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, obviously American hero. Second of all, there's one thing that everybody's getting wrong in the story. They keep saying, despite the fact that he was wealthy, he was frugal. No, it's because he was frugal that he was wealthy. And so he saved all that money, and it just compounds and compounds and compounds. He never spent it.
All right.
So it kept compounding interest or gaining value in the stock market. And that's why he had that much money. But having said that, I really wonder, and I wish that I knew him or I could talk to someone that did, because if it's one thing that if he was kind of zen about it, like,
seems like he was.
Yeah, I don't need this stuff. It doesn't make me happier, so I don't need to chase it. In which case, that's awesome, and I love that. And way to be happy with what you have, and that's exactly the right zen attitude. The problem is oftentimes desire, like, oh, I want that. Whatever's out of touch or out of reach, people want, right? And he clearly didn't suffer from that, so that's great. But if it was just that his dad told him to be frugal and he just didn't realize that his dad isn't exactly right, and he just never spent it, no! You could have had fun with that money. I'm not saying spend it all. You want to leave some to the town, that's wonderful and open-hearted and generous of you, and we love you for it. But if it was just your cultural programming, no, get a real bed, get a TV and a computer. You'll be amazed what's on Netflix.
Yo, I agree. I think he went too far. I think, like, I don't know, man. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't see the point of working that hard and having that much discipline if you aren't going to enjoy any of it. I'm not saying he had to go to Bali and get scrub baths from some fine ass women. I'm just saying, like, damn, dog, a nice bed, maybe a vehicle to get around, maybe a vacation, like, I don't know. I think he went to an extreme. So you telling me I can't invest in a New Jersey property and expect to keep getting a 30% return in 6 months? You can, but you can't expect. Nah, see, this is the story of Mr. Crawley came from when people wanted to help people and not necessarily finesse people or run a play or scam people out of money. Like these days, like it's hard to like. I'll tell you right now, if Mr. Crawley was working at a parking lot in DC, if he worked at the right parking lot with the right people parking there, let's just put it like that. Because if Mr. Crawley would have worked at the wrong parking lot where he would have talked to like some Pookie or Ray Ray or somebody who wanted to finesse him out of his money, like think about it. This dude had a cognitive disability. He had dyslexia. He really couldn't read that well. These people sat down and explained it to him, and he listened. Like, hey, he been at the. That's like, yo, that's all God and divine intervention. They put that guy at the right job in the right parking lot in the right side. He in Baltimore, finesse city, like the right job, the right parking lot, the right booth to talk to the right people who wasn't going to try to screw him over. Like, yo, hey, God look out for some people, because had he been in the wrong parking lot, had he been in the parking lot somewhere in Southeast DC, they would have saw him coming a mile away, and Mr. Crawley, they'd have probably finessed him out of his home. But luckily, he was in a place where people gave him real advice and they were actually trying to help him. So.
So I kind of feel bad that he didn't spend it on himself, but wonderfully generous of him. So now we get to how the town will probably ruin it.
What y'all think? Y'all think the town is going to ruin it? He did lay out some conditions. He said, hey, it got to be able to use on cultural, education, but that was vague as hell. So he did lay out some conditions, but y'all think the town going to screw it over? Probably, but you know, let's see what the town plans on doing.
So look, I say that because there are already hints that the town is going to ruin it. So clearly he noted how he wants the money to be spent, right? He wants it to be spent on education. Where's that list again?
Recreation, culture.
Right. Look, I guess it's a little bit vague once you get into recreation and culture. Like, what does that even mean, right? Mm-hmm. But the town apparently doesn't even know how exactly they're going to spend the money. For instance, some residents have proposed upgrading the town hall clock, restoring buildings, which is important. Come on.
Because of the look, they wanted to look good. They wanted to remind them of the past when the clock was functioning.
No one cares about your clock.
Well, they care about their clock.
Okay, fine.
There's a lot worse ways to spend the money.
Sure. Restoring buildings, which if buildings need to be restored, I think that's a good use of the money. Or maybe buy a new ballot counting machine in honor of Holt, who always made sure to vote.
No, I love that.
Okay, sure, that's good, that's good. Another possibility is setting up an online driver's education course.
He liked to teach kids how to drive, perfect.
But here's the part that gets to me, right? Hillsdale will utilize the money left very frugally, as Mr. Holt did. No, but so you guys aren't gonna spend the money? Like,
her face when they said they're gonna use it to fix the town clock was priceless.
Is anybody ever gonna spend that money? I'll take the money. TYT.com/join to send the money.
Put some of those kids through college, like use the money to actually improve people's lives, like get them further in life, help them progress, like to do that.
But Anna, it's actually better than I suspected, because in the morning meeting when we discussed these stories, I said, oh boy, not having read the story yet at that point, I said, what'll happen is they'll get the $3.8 million and then they'll rip each other apart trying to figure out how to spend it. I want it, no, I want it. We should spend it on my priority. We should spend it on my priority. But so far, it doesn't look like they're doing that. It looks like they're being, conservative, like meaning frugal, etc. And they're spending on the things that he'd like. If they keep going in this direction, I know you're upset about the clock.
I just think the clock is a ridiculous. Like, I love that that's like the first thing that's, we can improve the clock in town hall or city hall. Like, okay.
I don't know, man. This looks like it's a small town in New Hampshire that, like, if this whole story feels like old America in a good way to me.
That's hilarious. That's a wild story. I don't think any of their plans were crazy. I don't think any of their plans were crazy. I'll be honest, I think their plans were probably consistent with what the gentleman wanted. He wanted them to focus on those things. That I tell you, hey, if it were me, I think legally there are a lot smarter ways to do it. $3.8 million. Let's just round it up. He left these dudes $4 million. The smartest thing that he could have did if he had good planning was, I'm gonna put this $4 million in the trust, and every year this trust is invested in the market, and every year, whatever, you could pull out 10%, 5%. Like, just think about it. $4 million, you pull out 10% of $4 million, that's a lot of goddamn money every year. You don't even got to pull out 10%, put out 5%. 5% of the money can be taken out every year, and it can be used for A, B, C, D, and E. You're talking a couple $100,000 every year indefinitely, because the principal, that $4 million is never going to go away if you're only pulling 5% out and is invested in something that's making on average 8 to 10% a year, and they would be good. But he might have not had that planning and skill set to do. I hope we don't come back and hear about how the politicians ripped each other apart to get it. But shout out to them. I think it's dope. But this story goes to show that isn't that hard to be or put yourself in a position where you don't really have to worry about finances. And I don't know about y'all. I remember the specific day. I can't remember the date, but I remember the specific time and place when I sat back and realized, like, I need to start thinking about finances. I really didn't get super extreme until your boy was in the hospital with a damn brain aneurysm. But before then, I remember I was a young attorney. I was in court, and a lot of the, as a public defender, that's not a flashy job. But a lot of the private practice guys, they would have the nice suits and all of these balling ass cars. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, these guys are really balling, man. And I can remember talking to one of the deputies about, like, man, these private practice guys, they doing it, they making it big. And he was like, nah, don't believe the hype. And I was like, nah, not with these guys. Like this attorney over here, oh man, this dude, he took his whole staff to Bermuda for a week. Like, you hear of all these balling ass things, but the deputy was like, man, look, bro, when people get served or sued for not paying their bills, who do you think served them? They pay us, the deputies, to serve them. All of these guys out here who putting on this show as if they're balling and living this life of luxury, man, we done served them with so many lawsuits for credit card debt, for having properties that they didn't pay, with a creditor sued them. And it was at that point where it kind of hit me, was like, damn, I don't want to be the brokest damn lawyer in this room. Like, some professions, and it's like rappers and lawyers. I think real estate agents may be in this, but there are some professions out there where if you give off a look of success, and that's defined as luxury shit. But there are some professions, if you give off a look of success, people actually think you are successful. So it can lead to you getting more business. Like, think about it. If you were going to hire a lawyer and you came into my broke ass office and there's a Kia outside that had an ashy ass hood and needed a paint job, and you saw me getting in the car and I had to go on the passenger side and reach across and open the door, that was my old car. I had to go on the passenger side, then reach across to open the driver's door because the door handle was broke on there. Like, you would be like, man, I'm not getting that dude to represent me. He don't know what he's doing. He can't even keep his shit all raggedy. And you would kind of think like that. But some professions, they put a little bit of pressure on you to try to look like you're balling and you're doing so well because it helps your client base. And I think real estate agents go through that too. I think you see a lot of real estate. I don't know about y'all, but like, I've seen down to earth real estate agents in dealing with real estate transactions to buy property and land. But I also seen the real estate agents who, like, they get out the sports car and they got this bigger than life persona. And now doctors aren't like that. You don't give a damn if your doctor get out of a busted ass Kia like DFD used to have. You'll be like, yo, can this dude do the brain surgery or not? do he got a steady hand or is the shit kind of shaky? Like, but some professions, it puts pressure on you to just have this look of having to have stuff because that's what people deem successful. And people actually think, oh, if I drive this type of car, people will see it. And if I got this type of car parked out in front of this type of office space, people will see it and think success. And it could lead to me getting more clients. But I mean, there is some truth to that, but I think that your skills speak for itself. If you suck as a lawyer, I don't give a damn if you got a damn Bugatti flying spur or a Bentley or a Maserati. Maserati ain't an expensive car, really. I don't care what you have. You can have the ballingest car in the world. If you suck as a lawyer, you just suck as a lawyer, and eventually they're gonna be like, yeah, that's that dude who suck ass, but he got a nice car. So your skills speak for itself, but sometimes it's a little bit of pressure to have that look of success. But let me know what y'all think about those stories, man. Those were two guys. One guy who did it the right way. The second guy did it 75% of the right way. I got to take 25%. I got to give him a 25% deduction in doing things the right way, because to have $3.8 million and not enjoy it would be a complete travesty. And I think that's the whole reason of working hard. I think for me personally, this sounds weird as hell, but how could I explain this? I'm at a point where I'm used to being so frugal and kind of coming up not having things. Even if I have it to spend, I'm reluctant to spend it. Like, I know y'all probably like, DFD, well, that don't make any sense. Like, nah, it's just kind of how my mind is wired. I'm gonna take all of my kids and my adopted kids that I got to a wrestling event at the end of the month. And I looked at the cost of that wrestling event, and I told y'all I've been doing Instacart. And I looked at the cost of that wrestling event, because first I was only gonna take one kid who never been to a wrestling event. But I was like, nah, if I take him, I got to take my daughter, I got to take his sister. Then if his sister go, my daughter gonna want to go. Then my son gonna want to go. So I had all these thoughts, and I was like, next thing I know, I'm taking 5 or 6 damn kids to wrestling. Wrestling tickets aren't cheap. I saw the price of the tickets, and I was like, damn, these tickets, they ain't super expensive, but when you think about it, you know how it is. You get them from Ticketmaster. The tickets can be $60. They gonna charge you like a $15 fee for each damn ticket. Not to mention, it's an hour drive away. We got to eat something before we get there, because I damn sure not buying all of y'all a bunch of food. Y'all could get something when y'all at the ring, and I get a drink or a snack, but so you talking, let's see, probably $500 or $600 I'm gonna have to spend to take everybody to this wrestling event. You see, if it was just me going to 1 or 2 kids, I had some really good seats, but now we gonna be in the nosebleeds, right? But the minute I saw that, I was like, okay, it's $500 or $600. I could swing $500 or $600, but my logic, as soon as I saw it, I was like, damn, that's $500 or $600. So what have I been doing this week? You know what I've been doing this week? After I get off work, if I got 2 or 3 hours, I go to my phone, I turn on my Instacart shoppers app, and I take my black ass out there and deliver groceries. I go out there and deliver groceries, because the way my mind is wired, I'm like, man, it's just hard for me to let it go. And I'm like, oh, I can do this 2 or 3 hours. I could do this for 10 hours a week and make 200, 250 bucks to cover the cost of that. So that's kind of one of the things that, I've been doing. What's going on, sis? I appreciate you tuning in. But I'm gonna tell y'all, and I got some videos. I'm gonna show y'all in some videos how the Instacart thing work. And I'm terrible at it, because my problem is I talk too much. Like I delivered to one lady, and I'm delivering to her house, and everybody got their little name on the app, right? Her name was it was something that said like Esquire or something. And who called me? What's up? Yeah, where you at? Yeah, I already know. I made those steaks. I remember I told you I was making steak, right? Yeah, just come when you get me, because size can't be sitting around like that. So just hit me up when you like 5 minutes away. All right.
Did you get a package?
Yeah, it's in the house. All right, bye. And that's why I do all the cooking in the household, because I don't want to be out driving, picking people up from dance and jujitsu and all sorts of other shit at 9:41 Eastern Standard Time. Hell no. But yeah, I'm terrible. I delivered to this lady. I saw Esquire in her name, and after I dropped her stuff off, me and her just had a conversation about just law and all sorts of stuff. I talked to her for about 30 minutes. I probably could have made $40 in that 30 minutes, but I was too busy talking. But I do got some cool stories though. I met my homegirl who's an attorney. She was cool. But I also met, this was a weird ass story. I met the guy who is the owner of, I think it's only 2 dispensaries in this city, and he's the owner of one of the dispensaries. It's some interesting stories. You can meet some interesting people doing it, and it's a good way to make an extra couple of bucks. Because generally, if I go out, let's say, if I left out at 4:30, I would probably come back at around 8 o'clock. And from 4:30 to 8 o'clock, I would probably make somewhere between it averages out to about $18 an hour. Just all the times that I did it, it averages about out to about $18 an hour is what you get paid. But 4:30 to 8:30, you're talking about 18 bucks an hour, sometimes more or less. But it's a good little thing to do. And I'm lazy. I'm picky. I'm not going to go. Do I look like somebody who's going to go shop for somebody? And I look at those things, I'd be like, 68 items? Hell no, that's too much. I get all the small orders. I'd be like, okay, all right. They want 12 items? I could do that. So I could probably make a lot more if I was willing to take all orders that actually had a lot of shopping to do. But I tried that once before, and I was in the store too damn long. Then the drive there, and there was too much time that lapsed. It didn't make any sense. So normally, when you get an order, you can see what the order pays, the amount of the tip, and the number of items they want, and how many people are you shopping for. So you could get, oh, this is only 11 items, but it's going to 2 different people, and it'll show you the distance you got to travel. So if an order got more than 15 things, I'm probably not going to get it. If it doesn't have a tip that's at least 35% of what I'm getting paid for the order, I'm probably not going to take it. And if I got to drive more than 8 miles, I'm probably not going to take it. So sometimes when I do it, I ain't gonna lie, I just be sitting there for like 30 minutes because I just be like, no, no, no. And I just kind of sit around until something pops up that I'm willing to take. But there's absolutely no reason a person can't do that and make an extra $1,000 a month doing it part-time. That's exactly what I do. I just do it enough so I can make 250 bucks a week. That's what I've been doing for, I say, the past 2 weeks. I'd be like, oh man, if I could do it and make 250 bucks a week, that's an extra $1,000 a month that I could stash away for whatever the hell it is I want to do. But I got a video where y'all gonna see me all looking all crazy and shit. I had to learn the first day I picked the order up, and they ordered like 58 cases of water. It wasn't that many, but I was like, nope. You know what I bought after that? A dolly. I was like, man, I ain't about to work my black ass out here pushing all that. People want to order like Costco water and get 5 or 7 of them. I'm not taking all that stuff up a flight of stairs. So after that first day, when I had to carry those heavy ass items up the stairs, I said, you know what? I went on Amazon. I bought a little portable dolly that you could fold. It folds into a dolly, or you can expand it and load all that stuff up on. It was like 60 bucks. So, work smarter, not harder, but it's definitely a good hustle that people should consider doing. There is a wait list to join though. I think I had to wait like 45 or 60 days before a spot opened up. But you could do it and make an extra $1,000 a month easy. I had a whole week off at one point, and I wanted to see if I could make $1,000 a week. And that was a colossal disaster, but we'll definitely talk about it. So, that's it for this video. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Friday, tune in. we gotta check out a video because someone I know, someone who content I look at, they made a statement that we got to talk about. Dave Ramsey is not content for black people. We got to talk about it. That's going to be Friday's topic. The blackness of finance is financial advice. Does it have a skin tone? Does it have a skin tone? So y'all make sure y'all tune in. Y'all take care. And if there's anything y'all want my legal expertise on, y'all make sure to hit me up on IG, TikTok, shoot an email. All that stuff is in the bio. Y'all let me know what y'all want to hear. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Peace.